Now we should be back in check. Yeah, good. Okay, so now where were we? Again, it's pretty much the same with the daffodil. This is gonna be your, sure you guys can see in the center, that would be the female part, which is the pistil, right? And the stamens are these dark yellow, you can see where they hold the pollen. These lighter ones, the white colored ones, are the petals, and the green or dark yellow, those are going to be them. And I can see one daughter bulb right next to it, or that's going to be the daughter bulb. This would be, sorry, if you guys can see it, let me know. What's this part? Basal plate. What's this?
The scale?
Scales, modified leaves, yes. So what's this part? Basal plate, right? Cool. Any questions on this? Do you guys have any questions? Clear as mud? No questions, okay. Okay. Next up, what's this? Oh, this can't tell. What's this?
The cane?
The dumb cane.
Dumb cane, right? What type of cutting did we do for that? What type of cutting is this? Okay, what do you guys think? What type of cutting is this?
Could you repeat that?
What type of cutting is this? What type of cutting did we use?
It's just a node cutting, right?
It's
Oh.
it's close. It's a stem cutting, stem node cutting. Right? Why did we put it sideways?
You were doing.
For polarity.
For polarity. Why exactly for polarity?
Because it doesn't matter.
It does matter. Remember the snake plant experiment that we did? The ones that he did upside down didn't
Yeah.
root. So why would we do this? If polarity matters, why would we do? Why
Well, I
would
mean,
we consider?
Like, it doesn't matter, like, which way you put it, like, since it's on its side, right?
Yes, we don't have to worry about polarity, right? It's really hard to tell which one is bottom and which one is top, right? Is this the top or is this the top? I mean, I know that this one is the top and this one is the bottom because now I have this one coming up, but before that, you can't tell. And if you're gonna put it upside down, you potentially lost 50% of your cuttings. If you put it sideways, you do not have to worry about polarity. It's gonna root from either this side or this side. Make sense? And it is a stem cutting.
Should we know the distal and proximal?
Hmm?
Should we know the distal and proximal ends?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
I didn't know that.
But this way, like right when you have a cutting, you can't tell. You cannot tell which is which end, right? That's why we do it sideways. Really good. So for this one, just look at the medium. If you see a plant, it's something like this, and your plant is not growing, what would be your main guess? What's the issue? You see this on top of your medium.
Too much water?
Too much water, right? Overwatering. How would you solve that issue? How would you solve it?
Well, you don't want to water as frequently.
Yes, you're gonna reduce watering, right? If you have algae, that means you're not gonna have enough, or you're gonna have too much moisture, which is gonna result in fungus gnats or shore flies. And they can cause problem. Their larvae eat roots, they can transmit root rot, you can probably lose your crop.
They can cause what? Gnats and
Root rot. They can stress the plant out, they can transfer root rot.
what were the bugs you said? What were
Huh?
the insects that you said could
Fungus gnats and shore flies. Those are the most common for overwatering. So if every time you see like something soaked and green on top, it's overwatering. Right? And then you're not gonna see any rooting. Like these don't have much rooting. And some of those actually were rooting fairly well, but these are not. So you can see the roots over here, and they are just falling off too. That's not really healthy. I would say overwatering is an issue. You can see your leaves rotting. Many issues with overwatering. The way you mitigate it, you reduce watering, you try to move your plants out of the mist earlier. Cool? Yeah. And I should have my this right. This is a hormone, right? It is a #1 hormone. What type of plant would you use a #1 hormone for? #1 and #3 hormone. Herbaceous, right? So you would use these hormones for plants, annuals, perennials that are not woody. They are just herbaceous plants, right? So if I ask you to tell me what is calculate the amount of active ingredient to ppm. I don't know if it's gonna
10,000.
So it tells you the active ingredient. I'm not sure how well you can see, but it says the active ingredient, and it tells you that it's IBA. So I might ask you, what is the active ingredient in this hormone? And you're gonna look for it on the label. It's gonna say IBA, or in this case, it says allyl 3-butyric acid. You're gonna follow it, and it says 0.1%. How would you convert from percentage to parts per million? ppm? What method do we use for that?
Is it 1,000 parts per million?
Hmm?
Is it 1,000 parts per million?
Times 10,000.
Yeah, but the answer is 1,000.
Yes. But you always multiply this number, the number of, or the percentage of active ingredient by 10,000. So if I say, for example, this says this is a #3 hormone, what plant would you use it for?
herbaceous.
Still herbaceous. #8, that's something that's semi-woody, right? 8 and 16, something that requires a little bit more. Any examples for that? Would be like ficus, when we did the air layering, right? We used 8 or 16. We use a little bit higher concentration.
So it's semi-woody, right?
Yes. That's somewhere right between woody and herbaceous. What would you use number 32 or 45 for? Woody, right? You would use woody. Why don't we use, if hormones help those hard to root plants, Why wouldn't we use like a number 32 or number 32 or 45 for a herbaceous plant? Why wouldn't we use that?
Wouldn't you burn it?
Yes, you would burn it. Basically, it would be too much hormone, right? And this is just Dr. Pepper. Not sure if you guys can tell on the video. I'm not drinking. That's for the people who watch it on ice.
Bud Light.
I don't want anyone to think that I'm
Break
just
open a Budweiser on
right. So if you use too high concentration of rooting hormone, you're gonna burn the plant. If you don't use high enough concentration, on the other hand, you might not get good enough rooting. So, I'm not sure if you guys remember with the petunias, we actually saw some burning at like 16, if I remember correctly, with the petunia. So, always make sure that you know what you are doing, what rate of hormone you are applying. What's the active ingredient? You always want to make sure that you can read the label. I think that's pretty simple. If I ask you what's the active ingredient, can you find this on the label? Even if it's a little bit different, can you find it? And if I ask you to calculate the ppm based on the active ingredient, like based on the label, can you do that? Can you find active ingredient this percent times 10,000? Yes. Good?
Wait, how do you do parts per million again? Multiplied by 10,000?
So you find first you need to find the active ingredient, which is gonna say IBA, and then you're gonna go follow that, and it's gonna say either 0.1, 0.3, 0.8, 1.6, could be 30 or 45, or 3 or 4.5. Those would be the corresponding numbers, but you wanna be careful because sometimes a number 1 hormone is not necessarily 0.1%. That's why we always look at the active ingredient, which is the percentage of that, which in this case is 0.1% times 10,000. That's gonna be your ratio. So 0.1 times 10,000 is equal to 1,000. And if you, for that, you need a calculator that is more than, well, you are more than welcome to use the calculator. You are not allowed to use your phone. But that's how you're gonna always find. And make sure, so if I say for the begonias, what ppm would you use? What hormone would you use? 1 to 3, right? Herbaceous. Petunias, we would use 1 to 3. You would use, for coleus, 1 to 3, right? If you're gonna use something that's like the ficus that we did earlier, you would use 8 to 16, right? The middle range. For the junipers, Woody, which one would you use?
32.
Or 30 to 45, right? Make sense? Good. And we talked about that. One other thing, I want to talk about the benefits of using grafting rubber and the benefits of using parafilm. Parafilm is a lot more, like it covers a lot more. It doesn't let insects in, it covers the union a little bit better. Grafting rubber has the benefit of actually pulling the union together, so you get a little bit tighter connection, but you're gonna lose a little bit more moisture. You might get a little bit more insects in there or anything like that. Parafilm seals a little bit better, so that when you compare it, why would you use one over the other? Make sure you know parafilm has a better sealing ability and it's easier to apply, while grafting rubber a little bit harder to apply. It pulls the union together, but it doesn't give as tight of a connection. Or it gives tight of a connection, but it does not seal the connection as much as the, okay. Scratch that. Grafting rubber gives tighter connection, but doesn't seal as well. Parafilm seals a lot better, so you reduce moisture loss, but doesn't give as strong of a connection. Yes.
Is paraffin film the one that you use for like humidity, like to help create humidity or something like that?
So we would use that and to reduce water loss through the union. If you notice, Monday's lab did a little bit worse on grafting overall than Wednesday's lab, and I feel like one of the reasons was that Wednesday's lab used a lot more parafilm. Because even if you just use parafilm, like in here, you can definitely get a little like successful unions, like here and here. These are still alive. With rubber, you're gonna be like a little bit, as you kind of tighten it, you might notch the union a little bit, and it's not gonna seal as well. So if you have drier or lower humidity, your union might dry out, and that could be a reason why it fails. And you can use soil wax, like we said, or just regular wax. That also seals. That even seals better than paraffin. And one other thing is, if we say something about what cutting would you use, or you always want to make sure that the material that you are using is healthy, and sanitation. You always want to, if it's propagation, you can always improve sanitation, you can always improve on the quality of the plant you are propagating. Those are the two most overlooked aspects. So when you have pest issues, after that, you want to clean the greenhouse really well. You want to scrub everything. And you want to make sure that you're not using disease cuttings. Any questions on this so far? I think we covered a large chunk of the class. If you guys have any specific questions, I'm more than happy to answer, but right now I don't know if I missed anything. I probably missed a few labs because we just had so many, but okay. Maybe one thing that I want to mention for air layering, you want to have good moisture, right, on the sphagnum, on-milled sphagnum moss. You want to make sure that's wet. You want to make sure that you remove the cambium. So you actually encourage rooting, and you want to make sure that there is no light. Otherwise, you're not gonna get good roots. That's why we use the aluminum foil. So, yeah, I don't have anything else. I mean, we might have a few questions on grafting. I mean, hopefully everyone can identify parafilm, grafting rubber, grafting knife, cleft wedge. I showed you that big thing that that's a cleft wedge. I think I don't really have anything. You guys feel free to walk around, look at these. If you have any questions, I can show you things, and I think pretty much that's it.
How long will we have to take the exam? Is it the whole lab time?
So it is gonna be regular lab time. If I remember correctly what we did last year, it was 2 minutes per station. We had 15 stations. We might change that up a little bit because there is 24 of you. I think, no, maybe 26. So maybe we're gonna have 10 stations. I don't wanna say something stupid, so I'm not gonna say it, but I know that we're gonna have a specific amount of stations, and you're gonna have 2 to 3 minutes at each station to identify whatever is wrong with it, whatever is going on with that, and you can write down your answer. So it's gonna be station 1. Maybe this is gonna be, let's say station 1. It's gonna say 1, and you're gonna have. It's gonna ask what type of cutting is this? Why did we do it this way? And you're gonna say, this is stem cutting. We did this, so we don't have to worry about the orientation or
Polarity.
Yes. So, and because it's really hard to tell which is the top, which is the bottom, explain it why. Or maybe, for station 2, it's gonna be like, what are the benefits of using this method, or what type of bulb is this? Name this part, things like that. And you're gonna have 2 to 3 minutes. I can't remember exactly how many stations we had last year, but depending on how many students we have, how much time do we have. And you might gonna have like an empty station where you just have time to work on, finish up some question. And at the really end, we I think had like 6 minutes for everyone to go to a station that they wanted, or multiple stations, and look at them before they turn it in. So pretty much that's it.
It's not this Wednesday, it's the following Wednesday.
It is the following Wednesday, but if I did the review session next Monday, Monday's like already had there, so that's why we.
I was just curious
Yeah.
to make sure when I do.
Next Wednesday. This Wednesday, we're gonna terminate all of your experiments. I'm gonna make sure, go over everything. You wanna take home everything. You might leave a few more things here, but those need to go by the end of next week. The only thing that we're not gonna terminate is the Raspberry, because they need 1 more week. So probably, we looked at it today. Nothing really happened. I saw like maybe 1 student having a little bit of growth on that, but that's it. Pretty much that's it. If you guys have any questions, please email me. The syllabus, there is my number, so you can always text me. I'm probably gonna be here. I should be available until Thursday. I might not be here on Friday. So if you have any burning questions, I highly recommend you to either email me, text me. I'm more than happy to help if you have questions and you want me to answer it. My office is upstairs. I'm usually available. So if you have any questions, I'm here.
Thanks, Gary.
No problem.
Thank you.
I'm gonna